Right, it's time for business news, and Emmanuel has joined me. Good evening to you.
Good evening,
Emmanuel. So before you get on with the business news, I've heard this bit of information that we're going to be getting new features on the 5 CD notes, or there's a new 5 CD note coming up.
It's actually a new 5 CD note which is going to be in circulation.
So it's going to be completely brand new.
Brand new with note. Fresh security and then designs on it embossed on the
So does it mean then that the 5 CD note we're currently using is going to be phased out?
Certainly, it's going to be phased out. And sometimes it beats my imagination because actually the 5 CD notes are quite okay. I mean, the ones in circulation now are just okay.
Okay, so why are they bringing them? Why is the Bank of Ghana doing this?
The central bank is marking its 60th anniversary. Ghana is also going to be 60 years in March this year. So coincidence, just to introduce new notes to mark the celebration.
So that's the story they're giving us. But could it be then that probably there's some conspiracy theory that they're not sharing, that maybe they have problems with the 5 CD notes?
Well, at this time, your guess could be as good as mine.
Yeah, okay.
Let's
All right, you're carrying on with the business.
All right, thank you very much, Izzy. And thanks for joining me on business. Now, Africa's Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, has urged government to, as a matter of urgency, reopen negotiations with Nigeria Gas to avert possible power outages. Gas last year cut supply to Ghana as government remained indebted to the company in excess of $180 million. Ghana is currently enjoying some relative power supply, having deployed a number of emergency power plants. Speaking at a press conference, Deputy Executive Director of ACEP, Ben Boache, said any delay in ensuring adequate gas supply for power generation could result in power outages by the end of the second quarter.
We need fuel urgently. We need gas urgently from Nigeria, and we have to set processes in motion to ensure that we can negotiate with Nigeria for resumption of gas. There is some amount of gas coming in, but if you have 9 million standard cubic feet coming in, it's just not enough to do anything. So we want Nigeria to increase delivery of gas, and that should be a first priority. And going forward, restructuring of the debt situation of the utility companies. Because if VRA cannot raise finances to be able to pay for light crude oil they procure, then it's a critical challenge. How then can they even look at investment requirements? So these are critical challenges. Government should set in motion plans to clean the balance sheet of the utility companies, because ultimately it's government that led the companies into this through poor decisions and control of decisions that are made in the power sector. So we have to find a way to clean the balance sheet. Fortunately, we have the energy sector levy in place, which is meant for this purpose. So one way would be to sell off the debt. We can actually sell off the debt and use the levy to amortize it and give the companies a clean sheet so that they can engage the banks and be able to operate efficiently. And then ensure that the usual government interference in the operations of the utilities are curtailed, so that we don't go back into the situation we find ourselves in.
Ghana recorded a 50% reduction in petroleum revenues from the period between January and June 2016 over the previous year's figures. These were highlighted in the 2016 semi-annual report of the committee, which has been launched in Accra. Chairman of the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, Joseph Wenful, in an interview with Joy Business, said the situation was as a result of technical challenges on the FPSO Kwame Nkrumah and the decision not to hedge in a volatile industry. There's more in this report.
According to the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC's 2016 semi-annual report, the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, lifted 1.95 million barrels of oil, representing 18.48% of total liftings from the Jubilee field between January and June 2016. This showed a decline by 39% compared to the liftings done during the same period in 2015. Average achieved price for the Jubilee crude was $40.21 per barrel, compared to benchmark price of $53.03, representing a negative variance of 24.21%. Speaking with Joy Business in an interview, Chairman of PIAC, Joseph Wenful, blames the loss on technical deficiencies encountered on some equipment offshore, as well as refusal to hedge oil exports.
There are two factors, really, and maybe the easiest one is the falling prices of oil. I mean, if you compare 2014, 2015 with 2016, then you know that we dipped from over $100 to, almost 40-something dollars.
Yeah, but it seems our partners got more than us.
Yes, our partners did. That is because the partners went into hedging. I mean, the one lifted by ours was not that great.
Revenues from the petroleum sector during the first half of 2016 amounted to $126.41 million, which translates to 55% reduction in revenues when compared to total petroleum receipts during the same period in 2015, but 4% better than revenues received the second half of 2015. Joseph Winful hinted of plans by the committee to be more observant of the operations of the Jubilee partners.
From now on, it's our intention really to delve more into it, because we want to make sure that we can even come up and say, this is the expected, revenues. We couldn't attain those revenues as a result of A, B, C, D. So if some of the causes were as a result of inefficiencies and so on, then, the stakeholders will have to set up and look at how best to improve it.
According to the PIAC, payments into the petroleum holding accounts at the Bank of Ghana were duly made in the half year.
A new 5 Ghana cedi bank note with fresh security features and design should be in circulation from March this year. The note is being introduced as part of celebration of the Bank of Ghana's 60th anniversary, which will fall on the 4th of March this year. The 5 cedi banknote will be a legal tender as well as a collector item. The note will have additional security features that are sensitive to touch to aid the visually challenged. The climax of the celebration, which will take place in August this year, will mark exactly 60 years since the bank opened its doors to the public. The Bank of Ghana's decision to release some $120 million onto the market has been met with some mixed reactions. Whilst some people believe it's a prudent decision to halt the cedi's rate of depreciation, others say it is not sustainable. Economist Ishmael Yamson believes this could rather fuel activities of speculators.
The normal question as an economist I would ask is, how sustainable is this? Clearly, it's not sustainable. Clearly, it's inadequate. It will just, whet appetite on the market and will actually help to deteriorate the situation even further.
That is interesting, because I don't know whether, Mr. Yamson, you also agree with this argument that the current problem facing the cedi is a supply issue. So if they can meet halfway that supply, and they're going to help slow the rate of depreciation.
You can slow it, but you can slow it for how long? Then when the 120 million is finished, what happens? If you have not reduced the demand, because it's a supply issue, but the supply is out of balance with the demand. That's actually the real issue. It's not just the supply. Demand is much higher. In February, there is a bond that will be due for payment, $750 million. Government has to pay. So where would that money come from? So my point is that it is true that maybe a new government would be frightened to see the cedi slide, but it's not their fault. The fundamentals are very weak. Everybody knows that the demand over the next 3 months is much, much higher than $120 million. So how is the pricing going to be determined? Are you going to sell the dollar cheaper so that you can make people a little happy? I don't think it's a sustainable policy at all.
What are some of the short-term measures you would actually propose? Because some of the structure of the economy and all those people see it as a long-term measure. In the short term, what can be done if it's not an intervention to stabilize the cedi, so that at least look at its impact on fuel prices and even on utility tariffs and all those things? What can be done if it's not going to be intervention?
You see, first of all, what drives the demand? What drives the demand? is trade. People need money to trade. You have to pay for interest. You have to pay dividends and all those things. I think the short term, what is important to the business community and anybody who has a foreign commitment is the confidence that the right things will be done in the short and medium term.
But Chairman of Shipping and Logistics Group, McDan, Daniel McCauley, tells Joy Business they will rather want the bank to release more dollars onto the markets.
I believe that this intervention is normal, looking at your economical situation. We have to arrest the dollar climate. I'm a businessman, I'm not an economist, so I speak business. For the government trying to inject some money into the economy to arrest the rise of the dollar is not bad to me, but this is woefully inadequate. It cannot solve the problem. They have to look at it from another point. You understand? I mean, they can walk to some of the companies and say, look, let the dollar stay. Because right now, in the foreign exchange, the foreign bureaus, multinational companies are struggling with local companies, local traders to buy dollar off the street, which is serious. The banks, if you go to the banks, they should do their investigation, and all the banks are reserving dollar for the multinational. And the traders are struggling, even with the banks, with the multinational, to buy dollar. This is really creating a big problem. For me, there's nothing wrong trying to inject money, dollars into the system, but $40 million every month is inadequate for the business community.
Do you think that I also get from you that there should be kind of a special dispensation for indigenous firms or local firms like yours who are also into this area that, listen, don't give it everything, because if, I won't mention him, if a big bank is able to even get about $10 million, we know where those dollars will go. It won't come to McDan.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we have to look at it carefully. If not, it will not serve its purpose. These monies will go to the wrong hands, and it will surely find its way out of the country.
And that's all in business for now. Many thanks for watching. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. We are There's more ahead. Don't go away.